Hello, hello. Welcome to Coffee Break Stamping. Just going to take a sip right now. This is my first coffee of the day. Mind you, I only drink decaffeinated, but I've been looking forward to this. So we're going to be stamping with the Garden Wishes bundle today. And just, there we go. I found the video on Facebook. So if you have any questions as I go along, give a shout. Oh, I know what I was going to mention. There are any stampers who would like to get together and sit out in the sunshine in the front yard or backyard at my house here tomorrow afternoon from, 3:30 to 4:30, sort of a little happy hour. You could bring your own lawn chair over and anything that you might want to have to drink, and we'll set our chairs apart from a distance and enjoy the sunshine and have an outdoor visit. So keep that in mind if you're not busy tomorrow. It's been a long time since we've been able to gather, and so I just thought, it'd be nice just to have a visit for those who are available. So these two cards are the ones we'll do this week, and then next week will be the other two cards. So this is the Peekaboo card that'll be next week. I don't know if that's the official name of it, but I think I heard somebody else call it a Peekaboo card. So, and the double Z fold card will be next week as well. And we'll get started here with this card. It's a good warm-up card. There's not a ton of stamping, just a little bit of die cutting on it. And I'll pull out the supplies for that. Hi Sheila, hope you're having a good afternoon. Looks like, are you done work for the day, or do you have some hours you have to go back for? So yeah, this will have all the ribbons and embellishments in it. Oh, look at mine was on top. I don't know what order your cards are in, but yeah, this is the one we'll be doing first. And I'm thinking maybe we'll just do the die cutting right off the bat and get that out of the way. So these two strips are what we'll cut these. I'm not sure what they are. They kind of look like dill, actually. I don't know. I don't think, do dandelions look like that when they go to seed? Yay, Sheila, you're off today and tomorrow, and the weather is so perfect. It's cooperating for you. Totally awesome. Okay, so, how far away did I set my dies? Yeah, I can reach them. Okay, I need to adjust my earbuds here with the microphone because I feel like I can't stretch very far. Maybe that's a bit better. I think of all of these dies that are in this set, there are only like two or three we won't end up using. The blades of grass are one of them, but those are great if you're going to be making a scene and you want to have some tall grass coming, from the bottom of a card. Those will be super for that. And this one with the dotted lines, it's like the bumblebee path in the air. We're not going to be using that die, but I have a suggestion for it. We're also at this die here is to cut out the bumblebee. We're not going to be cutting out our bumblebees, but we will be using the stamped image of it. So we'll get a chance to use most of the things in this package for the class. Oh, and I forgot to grab the weed, the dill, or whatever it is. The dandelion that's gone to seed and is blowing in the wind. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to cut this with my Baby Boss here because it just fits nicely into my space for the demonstrations. So, yeah. Ooh, I can see going back and forth. I think I've been always going in this, same direction, and this is maybe bending a little bit. I'll just put that back into a more flatter shape. And I'll stagger my plates and get them pushing through. Probably, I don't know if my coffee's in the screen there. I think it is. It's kind of wobbly as I'm working. Okay, so there's weed or dill number 1. Just have to take your time to loosen all those little pieces out of there. And if you ever find that you can't get the pieces out if they're not quite cut right through, then you just use a piece of paper on top of the top plate to add a little bit of shim and extra pressure. Okay. Oh, that one right there, I might need to take my scissors and work on that one. I'll get the scissors in just a minute. So there we go with the other one. And I think, just looking around to see what I've got for paper, I am going to put a bit of a shim right over this area here because it's needs a little bit more push. There. The reason this is bending a little bit is that it's the pressure of the machine is pressing right into it like that, and yeah, it's always getting rolled through that same way. So let's see, where is, ooh, I think I see a paper over there that might work for a shim. I might have to cut it down though. Oh, look at this. I did try the grass. I was showing you that the grass might be one of the pieces that we, that we don't cut out. That was a bit of a stretch. There's one of the grasses that I cut. Actually, I think that's upside down. This is actually the front, but yeah. So it does cut really cool grass. You could, cut some grasses that way. And I'm just going to need to, there's another dandelion there. Just grab that from my scrap bin. There, we'll just, oh, no, I want the shim to go on top of the plate. There we are. It's a little bit harder to turn with the extra pressure, but that'll help so that it cuts all the way through that cardstock. Now I wonder, I've just realized, oh wow, that came out really well. I just realized I don't have my die brush nearby, but I do have my take your pick tool, so I have to pick anything out. I'll be able to use that. Oh, all right, so beautiful. I love this image. It's really nice, and it's not too flowery, so it could work for cards for guys and for cards for gals. Sympathy cards, this would make a lovely sympathy card. Just that one little piece there that it didn't cut through right there. Okay. Whew. I was worried for a minute that maybe I'd have to cut another one, but made it. Surgery was successful. All right. Now, this may sound weird, but I decided not to glue these fully down on the paper. Part of the reason was I liked the look that these lift up a little bit here and really make it look like they're blowing in the wind. And the other thing that's kind of neat is once they get glued down, you can lift these up a bit and tuck some of the seeds that are flying away in the air. You're able to stamp some of those seeds and get under there to get that 3D sort of look. So here's what I'm going to do, and you can try this if you like. If it's more important to you to get these pieces, all of them, every little last piece of it, glued flat onto the card, then what I would suggest is before you even cut them out, on the back of your cardstock, use some of our adhesive sheets, and then when you've added that adhesive sheet on the backing and you've cut it, you can just go back and peel it off, and then every little bit of it will adhere and stick down to the card. But I kind of like this chance for it to seem a little bit more flowy. Seems a little more bohemian and not quite as stiff. So with the glue dots, here we go. I'm going to put just at the base of this little weed or flower or whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna, where do I want to go? About something like this here on the left. I'm about, I don't know, 2 fingers from the top, half a finger from the side. Now the nice thing is when you're using a glue dot, if you don't quite like the angle where it's at, you can pull it around like this with the stem. So there is a method to my madness here. And same thing with the white one too. And also being able to manipulate them. You're going to have a spot where you want the stems to cross over, and so you'll be able to move them around a bit that way. So let's see, something like that. There we go. And then where these 2 stems cross over, I'm going to put a little bit more glue right there. Just a dot, maybe between the 2, but the dot's also going to go, it's also going to go onto the background piece and hold them. And then I'm going to put a bow with the linen thread and cover that up. There's 2 pieces of linen thread in your embellishments package. And, oh, hi Glenda, I just saw that you're hopped on. Glenda is watching. Need to leave early, so I will do the cards up with the replay. You bet, Glenda. Yeah. There's a shorter piece of linen thread, and then there's a longer one. The longer one will be used next week for the Peekaboo card. So just make sure of the 2 pieces of linen, you want to use the short one for this. And this is where I tie a bow in the air, or you could use a bow tire, or you can give it to somebody in your house who's good at tying bows and get them to tie it for you. Or just make a knot, and whichever. Whoops. Okay. Ooh. My linen thread's very curly, so I actually sometimes like pull the thread with my nails to try and straighten it out. I don't know how to pull it so much that it looks really goofy and stiff either, so whatever. Okay, this is really there. Okay, almost there. So yeah, so I'll get one more glue dot to, and I'm making my bow not too small. I'm kind of going bohemian style, bigger and floppier, and I'm leaving I think I'm gonna leave the ends of the bows so that they trail off nicely into the breeze too. Ooh, it's already starting to stick there because of that other little piece that's underneath. Okay, so just like that. There. Now, I guess normally we would stamp first and then glue these things down, because then if there's a mistake with the stamping, you can turn it over to the other side. But the problem with that is sometimes it's hard to know exactly how everything's going to lay down and fit on the card. So now I can go back in with my stamp, and I think I'm just going to use wishing you all the best. What are my other choices here? The wishing you all the best fits quite nicely in this base. Made for love with a true friend. I think that one might fit in there too. Depends on how far over to the left you went. You could also use from all of us. Hello is almost too tiny for the space, but you know, if it's just the right saying, sometimes that's just what you like to go with. So this is where we'll use the early espresso ink. And I think I'm going to try my words on my grid sheet just to make sure I know where I want to look to line it up and get it straight, because I think the bottom of the foam rubber is maybe just slanted a little one way. So I think if I concentrate and focus on the center of the line of words, that will help me to get it straighter than if I'm looking at the edge of the rubber. Okay, somewhere like that. Wishing you all the best. There. And I like how the wording too is kind of soft and flowy. So that's the theme we're going with this card. Now, I'm going to go in and add. It looks pretty nice just like that. You could just make your card like that if you want to. I'm going to go in and add some of these seeds that are blowing away in the wind. And so I've got this stamp here ready to go. I guess I need my, I cleaned my ink, closed up my ink pad too soon. I think this is the direction that they should be blowing in. But if you think I'm wrong, maybe you would want to change your stamp around and make them blow the other way. I think I'm going to go in this direction. And if I grab there, I can lift that up and I can do, you know what? I need to move this over to the edge of the block so that I can get right in there. There. Okay. And you know what? Less is more with this stamp. If you press too hard, it starts getting globby. So you just want to do like light little kisses onto the paper. So I'll have some blowing there. And some blowing from there. And there. Let's see, one more here maybe? I don't know. There. You can always go back in and add more. Those didn't get under as well as I thought they would, but that's a tip if you're looking to try and get under. And I don't think I want to do, could almost add one more there, but I'm not going to. I think a light touch is going to be just about right with this card. All right, so this is ready to be glued onto the base. For the base of the card, I used our thick Whisper White just to give it a little bit more sturdiness. I know what I was going to mention. If you don't care for the seeds being blown in the wind, here's another option that I thought would be fun. I haven't tried it, but you could put the bumblebee there. And in the package of dies, there's this die that's got the bumblebee dots trailing in the air. So you could possibly make, your dots might end up, I would stamp the bee first, get him or her, wherever you would like. And then go back and put the dots through the stamp and cut and emboss machine, and you'd get that feeling of movement and whatnot. So I thought that was kind of neat that they made the little flying dots for the bumblebee, not only as an option for the stamp, but also as an option for the dies. So if you don't like the seeds, the bumblebee is another option that might be fun for this card too. And I didn't end up stamping anything on the inside of this one, but again, the bumblebee is nice, or if you wanted to just down in the corner do one of the stamped dandelions, something like that. Or you could, that's where you could have some grasses popping up on the inside too, if you wanted to. It's just lots of nature-ish things going on with this card. And boy, the dandelions will be popping up soon. Oh, forgot. You probably already figured this out. We're not going to leave these hanging here. No. They'll be cut off. I would have noticed that eventually when I went to put the card in the envelope and it wouldn't fit. There. So card number 1 is done, unless you want to do some decorating on the inside. But I really like this. I love the simplicity, and the colors are very calming. So when I asked my son of all the cards for this week's Garden Wishes class, which he liked best, he said he liked this one and also this one for next week. And I said, oh, they're both crumb cake. You've got a theme there. So those must be both good ones for guys, if my son thinks they're pretty nice. All right, so all done with the early espresso ink, and we'll move along to the next card, which is the bookmark card. And I don't know, you will likely not be able to tell, but I've used Wink of Stella on the flower part and the leaves part of the dandelion, and this is kind of nice to be able to give to maybe somebody who's maybe can't get out of the house and needs to do lots of reading or something like that. So, and it uses the colorful, I think it's called the Colorful Seasons designer paper. It's 6x6 pack that's in the annual catalog. And again, with this one, I did not stamp on the inside, but you did get a white sheet of paper to glue on the inside. So this is the pack we'll be using. Oh, I forgot to tell you too, some of you will have a background paper here that's a little bit different because I ran out of this one that was just all blues. So you'll have a one with blues and a little bit of greens in it as well. And they both go really nicely with the bottom pocket part. I'm really, really enjoying the Misty Moonlight paper. It's the Misty Moonlight color. It's just so beautiful. Okay, and the die cutting, there's a rectangular piece of Misty Moonlight cardstock, and I'm going to cut 3 of the very littlest flowers. So there's the biggest flower that's attached to a stem, and then there's, oh, I missed one down in the package. There it is. And then there's sort of the next biggest one, and then there's the medium one, and then there's the very tiniest one, and that's the one that we want. And I'd say with this, you'd have the choice of cutting it like either 3 times or 6 times if you just want the flowers to be kind of a light a light look up here in the corner, cut them 3 and just do 1 layer of the flowers. But if you want the flowers to show up a little bit more and be have a heavier, more solid look to them, then you could cut the flowers 6 times and layer them up like that. Envelopes out of the road. So here we go again with the Baby Boss and the Misty Moonlight. Oh, I think I've shown some of you this before. You start to see that your plate is curving up like that, and it can push down and turn it around. So it just gets it to wear much more evenly. There we go. So yeah, you can easily get lots of flowers from here. I'm only going to cut the 3 to make things go a little bit faster for my video, but you can cut, like I said, cut 6 or more. I think the nice thing about the flowers is that even once they take the bookmark out, you know, to be able to use the bookmark, it's still a little bit decorative with those 3 flowers there in the corner. And the other thing that I had thought about is maybe, you know, if it bothers you when they take the bookmark out and there's, you know, still an empty space there, maybe you could take and, I don't know, put a little something there. I'm not sure what it would be, so that then it's not quite so bare. I just thought of something here too. Okay, so I like this idea. So if you took this same flower, dandelion, and stamped it and die cut it, because there is a die that perfectly cuts this, a framelit die, you could glue it in place right here. And so even though they take the bookmark out, ta-da, there would still be another one there, making it look decorative and not quite so plain. So they will want to put this up on their shelf to display their pretty card, and they'll want this to use for their book. There we go. That's, yeah, because it'll be just the right shape and size. Because you'd need fairly narrow words to go in behind there if you were trying to find some words or something to go there. Okay, there we be. Ooh, that one's really tucked onto there. Sometimes if you can't get it going, you can even use a pick end of the Take Your Pick tool. And I'll stop there for now. Fold this baby up. Don't want to lose that little flower piece. There we go. It's in its safe spot now. All right. Here, get on to the next part of our project. The Misty Moonlight designer paper is going to be glued onto the mint macaron layer, and I have to say, I shared this with Glenda the other day. I really like those 2 colors together. Mint macaron by itself kind of makes me think of hospital green a little bit, so I'm not necessarily drawn to it all by itself. But when you put the right color beside it, it's very nice. So this other side down, this looks like Christmas boughs, and we don't really need or want Christmas boughs right now. We want spring. And Now we're going to create a pocket, so I have to talk myself through this as I don't want to goof things up. There are 2 pieces of mint macaron. This larger piece is what's going to be used to make the bookmark, and it will layer with the Whisper White. This smaller piece is going to be a contrasting edge on the pocket. So I'll just lay some glue down there and attach this edge. Let's see, I might as well work with my grid lines instead of against them. And I don't want too much showing. Maybe something close to what I've got along the borders here. Okay, I'm a little crooked. I'm a little crooked. Doot, doot. As soon as I said that, I'm like, oh, that makes me think of I'm a little teapot. Oh dear. Good thing it's almost Friday. Scissors. Yeah, you might need to trim depending on how evenly I cut your pieces. There. So because this is going to be a pocket, we can't put any glue in the middle, so I'm going to use tear and tape on 3 sides to hold the pocket in place. And the hardest part of the whole project today, trying to get the layers off the tear and tape. Sheila, do you have any plans for your few days off besides stamping and maybe enjoying the sun? And whoever else is out there, let me know if you have any plans for the next few days. I'm wanting to get out and walk. And I might have a few thank you cards to work on. Okay, I guess I want to line the bottom of this designer paper up with the bottom of that designer paper, and then that will leave that nice mint border all the way around the big rectangle. There we go. Just to be sure, I'll take and tuck something in there. Yep, good stuff. Before we go any further, there's a step we want to do so that don't forget it. We're going to put this ribbon. Isn't this nice? This woven ribbon was from the fall mini catalog, and I had a little bit left, and I was like, oh, that looks really nice right there. Okay. Oops. Get that started. I was just going towards the middle. There. Did it closely? Yeah, pretty much got to the middle there. Now I am safe to glue the front down because I have those ribbon edges tucked and glued to the back. So we'll be doing some stamping next, and I'll be using the Misty Moonlight and Mint Macaron ink pads. You probably could get away with using a Night of Navy ink pad if you don't have the Misty Moonlight. It will definitely be darker. So you might want to experiment with it, maybe on a scrap paper first. Maybe it would be just a little bit closer to the right amount of depth in the color if you stamp off first. But yeah, might want to try it. If you didn't have mint macaron for the greenery, I'm not sure which green. You might again want to play around. If you used like a darker green, like a garden green or something, again, you might want to stamp off so that you get a lighter version of it. And we're going to actually use both colors at the same time, well, sort of. Okay, that's what I'm going to want to stamp on, so get that. I'm going to ink up here with the mint and then the flower with the Misty Moonlight. And I'm going to start with the lighter color first because it's okay if the darker color goes on top of the light. Like if I go up here and get mint up here, it's not as big of a deal as if I do it the dark color first and then I go with this one, then I might get some dark into here. It will infect it more. But what you might want to do is, okay, here's the edge. This edge of the ink pad is closest to the edge of the case. You just take and make sure you get the green up to the edge of the flower. And looking for a scrap. Here's what you can do if you did get a little mint up on there that you don't want. You can take a scrap paper and just lift that off. Takes the worst of it, and like I said, this is the darker color, so it won't be infected as badly as if it was a lighter. And again, this edge of the ink pad is right close to the case, so I'm going to use that to gauge. Except I'm working, okay, it's easier. I'm working with this black background and it's hard to see the dark ink pad on the there. And just make sure I've got extra at the top. Okay, so Misty Moonlight at the top and mint at the bottom. And I'm going to stamp a little bit down so that I have room to punch a hole to put the ribbon for the bookmark. If it's taken you a long time to get to this step with it inking it up, remember to huff on it, and that will kind of reactivate the color. Yay! All right. Blue on the top, green on the bottom. I think I can close up my ink pads now. Oh. And let's just put your finger in it too while you're at it. Okay. Going to grab Wink of Stella. And I mean, this looks nice just the way it is. You wouldn't have to, if you don't have Wink of Stella, you wouldn't have to use it. But I don't know if you can tell, once I've used Wink of Stella, I'll hold this up a little bit, it gets a little bit softer and fuzzier looking, because the Wink of Stella dissolves the ink a little bit and softens it and makes it sparkly. So I think that's just like awesome. And what I'm doing is the ink is thickest in the center of the flower. There's lots of ink there, so that's where I'm starting with my Wink of Stella, and then I'm brushing it towards the outside. And it gets that soft, fuzzy, and glittery look. Wink of Stella I don't know who invented it, but they were sure smart. Okay, and then just making sure there's no blue on my Wink of Stella. And now I'm going to go down and I'm going to color in the leaves. It's not really like I'm coloring them so much, is just adding a layer of sparkle. Whoa, did I ever have lots come out there? Holy smokes. I have a big blob of it. And yeah, the green, you don't see much change in the green because it's such a lighter color. But the blue, for sure, you get that dark color really is really picked up and moved around with the Stella pen. Okay, now this is kind of wet-ish. Just going to give that a moment. Actually, while I'm giving it a moment, that's a good reminder to do the next step. So I have a corner rounder punch, and it's from my Trio. I can't remember, something Trio, Elegant Trio, I'm not sure. And that's what I'm going to use to round my corners with. If you don't have a corner rounder, it's no big deal. Like a bookmark can have just straight corners too, actually. I think that it looks almost as nice that way. It's really a matter of preference, but I've got mine here, so I'll do my top two corners on both layers. And really, basically, if you want to do both layers, you have to do this before they're glued together. So there we go. Oh, no, I'm not done with that because there's the little punch, the little hole that I'm going to punch to put the ribbon through at the top. What's the chance? I'm going to get this straight. I was going to grab my liquid glue, but the tape runner, the seal was right there. So handy. Oh, wow. Yeah, was my Wink of Stella ever thick? You may find that, yeah, I used a different Wink of Stella for the first one, and the sparkly in the center there is incredible. and in my leaves too, lots of sparkle. Now, that's what I'll use to create the hole. And I kind of liked that down the center, down the corner, they've got a line to show you that you're kind of going in center ways. And they've got two cutouts on the edge of the Trio punch as well. So that's what I'm going to be kind of looking at as I'm pushing this in. And, oh, look at, I don't think I want to, how far did I push this in before when I punched it? That's a good question. I think this might be a case for punching upside down. I really can't remember how far I went in before. So I'm going to say I want my hole about there-ish. So we'll go in like that. Oh, look at that. Yeah, you do have to push it in all the way. Okay, yeah, and there, that's about center. It's kind of weird, but hey, if it works. You have lots of this narrow ribbon of the mint macaron. And this narrow ribbon, again, I recycled this from last year's spring mini catalog. I think they had featured this with the stamp set that has the high heel shoe and the lipstick and the perfume. And yeah, I had hoped to use it for something, and then I didn't end up using it. And then when I started working on this card, and I loved how the mint macaron was going with the Misty Moonlight, I'm like, oh, what do I have for ribbon? And luckily I found these two. Now, I think you could go like, you're going to have lots. You're going to have way too much more than you need. But, okay, maybe I could say, I'm going to start, I'll start with 6 inches of this. Probably be more than I need, but 6 inches is about good. And this is where you do, what is it, like a slip knot? Slip the folded end through and then put those there. My fingers are in the way. So there's my little circle, And I'm going to slip the ends through the little circle, the little loop. There. And dependent on if you slip your folded end from the front, from the back to the front, or from the front to the back, it will change the look of what it looks like up here at the top. So you can try both ways and see which you like. I don't want this to be too long because this will be going into, oh my goodness, I think I got some ink on my note, on my bookmark. It will be going into an envelope. So I guess you could fold it over a little bit like that, just, or off to the side. And then when the person takes it out, they can stretch it out nice and tall. Two things left. So this longer piece of the narrow ribbon, macaron ribbon, is for a bow. And if you use this, just one end of it, you might have a little bit of the narrow macaron left for something else. Yeah, no, I guess that's, well, trying to decide if I want my bow to be a little bit bigger. That's about right. I didn't want it to be too tiny because the ribbon that we're gluing it onto is really wide, and so I didn't want it to look like a mouse and an elephant together. There, yeah. So a bit of that ribbon left, and you can use it, save it for another project. You get at least another bow out of there, or another tassel for a bookmark. And I'm just, I'm going to use 2 glue dots. The first glue dot, actually, I'll put underneath the wide ribbon. Just slide it under there with my, take your pick, so that that's not going to move around so much anymore. And then the second glue dot will go on the back of my ribbon. Ooh, that looks nice. I think I like the back better than, I'm going to change it around, put my glue on that side. Just as with paper, I guess with bows you have 2 sides to pick from too. There. It's amazing how, like, I mean, there are 2 different styles of ribbon, but Stampin' Up! Is really stringent about how well their colors coordinate. And yeah, the color in it, the hue is identical. Okay, so the last thing here is to put some flowers down the side just to add a little bit of interest. Now, I've just done the 1 layer of flowers. If you are one of the people that have the patterned paper with the blue and the green in the background, you might decide that you don't want any flowers, or you might want to double up and alternate the petals so that your flowers actually will show up a little bit better on the busier paper. So a few choices that way. And let's see, I'm trying to decide, do I want them like ... close up like that? No, I think. See, I picture in my mind, I think that the bookmark should go in a little bit at an angle. It creates a little bit of interest and excitement that way, and there's a little bit of a leaf poking out. Yeah, so I'm going to space my flowers something like that. So that's like, what, about 1/4 of an inch, maybe even 1/8 of an inch from the right hand edge. Yeah. Okay. And you could use glue dots or whichever you're more comfortable with, liquid glue. I guess even tape runner too, but it's such a small area to have to try and get the tape on. Okay, let's just say about 1/8 of an inch. And I'll do my center one first. And then center one between the top and the center, and center this one between the pocket and the other flower. Something like that. And we're going to need 3 of the, what are these called again? I have to look at the name. Opal rounds. Oh, I love these. The only thing that I don't like so much about them is that they really protrude a lot. And yeah, you just have to make sure that they will go through that little slot that Canada Post has when you're sending things in the mail. But they're so gorgeous and so sparkly. And I really like how it really picks up the green from the mint macaron. These are, they are my new favorite embellishment for sure. I'm hoping that they'll continue with them after this January through June mini catalog. We'll find out, I guess. The other thing you could do too is, if you want, you can go in and pull your petals up a little bit. You could have done this before we even glued them down, which might have been a little bit easier. So if you like that 3D look, it adds just a little bit of depth and dimension to your card. Ooh, don't knock over the coffee, Shauna. Yeah, there's going to be one opal round left over, and we'll use that for one of next week's projects. Now that I'm looking at this more, I guess I did think about putting an opal round here, but the thing is, if this is going to be used as a bookmark, it's just going to make a lump in the person's book. So I'm like, no, Shauna, refrain from making a lumpy bookmark. Okay, and then finally, you do have one last piece that you can glue onto the inside. And again, if you want to put a Misty Moonlight bumblebee in there, or another little flower growing out of the corner, lots of choices that way. But that's the bookmark card for you, and also the dillweed card, or whatever this is. And I hope you enjoyed the cards today, the projects, and I'll be back with the 2 other cards next Thursday at 2:00. And if in the meantime, if you have any questions, give me a shout. And if there's something I'm missing from your packages, please let me know. I really try my best to get everything that you need in them, but chances are there'll be something that I forget. So, oh, Glenda, you're still here. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you like the cards. Thanks so much. And yeah, it's nice to have something to look forward to a little bit later. And Sue and Glenda and Sheila, keep in mind that if you want to come by my house tomorrow at around 3:30 and sit out in the sun, distanced, bring your own lawn chair, so we're not touching other people's stuff, and just have a sunshine visit. Come on over. That would be lots of fun. It's it's time to be able to see some people again. Other than, I love my family, but sometimes we need to get out and have visits with a few others too. And tomorrow might be the day of the month to do that. Okay, thanks, ladies. So good to see you all, and we'll talk to you again another day, maybe even tomorrow. Bye for now.